So before I start our chapter 87, I just want to make a PSA, okay? If you send me your story, please do not message me days later and say, sis, can you please take it down? Or sis, can you please delete my story? Do you know how many stories I have to get through? I still have over 100 that I still have not opened. Like, please don't give me your story and then like regret it and then be like, oh no, me and the baby daddy are all good. Like, but here we go. On my first day at a new job, the supervisor took me on a tour around the workplace. After the tour, a random girl came up to me and said, he's good looking, eh? I was confused and asked her who she was referring to, and she said the supervisor who just showed you around. He wasn't my type, so I never paid any attention to him. The next day, the supervisor went on a 2-week holiday, and someone else took over until he got back. I only met him once when he took me on a tour, so when he came back to work, he was still a total stranger to me. I only ever saw him sitting on his desk and never once spoke to him until I needed help with something. Okay. As I was asking him for help, he started making conversation with me, asking where I'm from and all. Later that day, as I finished work, I received a random text from the supervisor saying, sorry for the random question, but is that a new tattoo on your arm? What? Who the fuck would want to ask that? I thought it was weird because he's only supposed to contact me about my start times and all. Anyways, I replied to him, no, I've had this for a few years now. And we started texting and getting to know each other. That's happened with me and a boss before. A few days go by and it was like a routine for him to text me every day when he finished work. He then asked me if I wanted to hang out with him, to which I agreed, and we met up over the weekend. Yep, you guessed it. We ended up doing a bad things on the first night. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Must be nice. This went on for weeks, and it got to the point where he was picking me up for work early hours in the morning and taking me back to his apartment to do the bad things. Girl, we were like rabbits. I know I said at the start that he wasn't my type, but at that point I was definitely hooked. Days go by, and during a conversation with a guy at work, he mentions that the supervisor was in fact married, but with no kids. I was shitting my pants thinking, what did I just get myself into? I texted him during break asking if it was true, if he was really married, and he texted back saying yes, but was separated. We met up again later that night to talk, and he showed me all his texts with her about the split and when he moved out. People from work started finding out about us, and I was getting so much hate from a lot of girls who also had a crush on him. That same year, I fell pregnant, and fast forward to today, we are expecting our second baby. It was a happy ending. Next one. Back in 2021, I had recently ended a on and off relationship of 8 years. I was living my best life, going out with friends and cousins, drinking all weekend. I had also just started losing weight because we were in COVID lockdown, so I had nothing but time on my plate. While stalking on Instagram and Facebook looking for this guy I see a lot on TikTok, I get a follow request on Insta. I didn't take much note of it at the time, but as the days went by, I noticed the Samoan guy having a whole conversation in my message requests. How embarrassing for him. I replied, and we eventually exchanged messages when I was bothered. I didn't really have any interest in this guy. We will call him Belu. After a while, I finally met up with Belu, who had his friend driving him around. He wasn't my type, that's for sure, but he was a distraction, since COVID had us stuck at home 24/7. We talked all night, and he had all the stories about Samoa and his ex being toxic. We started hanging out every night, and we started doing all the bad things at the beaches around Weymouth. Weymouth, as in Weymouth, Auckland? This guy had me head over heels, but I wouldn't allow myself to tell him how I was feeling, even though he's not your type. It was all sneaky linking with no strings attached, so I kept telling myself. One night we went to the golfing range at the airport, and this guy had the nerve to go through my phone and tell me I'm not allowed to talk to other guys because he wanted me to be with him only. Later that night we went to a park to chill before I go home. He eventually got too comfortable and fell asleep. My cousin was with us at the time, and she had decided she wanted to go for a walk and let us do our thing, which was cool. I couldn't see her, so I used his phone to call her. But when I opened his phone, I see baby mama in the messages. I instantly flipped out at him about it and we left. I was so mad that he had the nerve to tell me not to see anyone or talk to anyone other than him. But he's got a whole ass kid he kept secret too. We continued to do the bad things for 2 months. Then I found out I was pregnant. So you got mad that he hit a kid, but you got pregnant to him. Okay. I hesitated on telling him, but my family talked me into doing it. When I told Bedlu I was pregnant, he thought it was a joke and started blaming my frustrations on the baby. He started being really sweet and asking if my stomach was in any pain or if I wanted my feet rubbed, but I was still in the early stages of pregnancy, so I was still feeling normal. My 12-week scan was due and he asked for the photos, so I sent them thinking he was actually interested in the pregnancy. Well, yeah, nope, the joke was on me because he ghosted me. 2 weeks after my daughter was born, I got a friend request on Facebook from a lady asking me how I knew her husband because she noticed he follows me on Instagram. Turns out she's the baby mama and he was engaged to be married the same day my daughter turned 1 month old. The wife told me I was the second person in a year claiming her husband has gotten pregnant. His third baby was born not long after my daughter and he could possibly have more. He eventually moved back to Samoa. I swear these guys from Samoa just come over just to spread their seeds. Next one. Me and my partner have been together since we were kids. We're both 22 and 21 now. But like this little moipi, I swear has no morals of respect for me and his children. Tell me why this guy always gets snapped cheating on me and dead ass lie to my face when confronted about it. If you keep taking him back after he cheats, he's going to think it's okay. Then he'll keep doing it. Anyways, 2 years ago, me and him were on and off. During that time, I met this hella fine Niuean guy on Facebook, so I hit him up. We were talking for a few weeks, and this one night, me and my sisters and cousin were drinking. I was telling them how I met this guy and how I was going to meet up with him that night. Fast forward to meeting him, I pulled up in my whip at his bros in Otara, all dolled up because I knew we were going to go somewhere and do the bad things. Yeah, well, it happened, but I was also doing the bad things with my baby daddy. Weeks went by and I got pregnant. Ugh. But I don't know who the daddy is, even till this day. My child looks like me, so it's been very heavy on my mind lately now that things are going back down the road again. And sometimes I just want to say to my baby daddy, that's why my daughter has a different daddy. Just to be mean. Moral of the story, don't date mangry moldy boys. They haven't grown up yet. If I had one piece of advice, it would be to do a DNA test. Have you not heard the previous stories of the girl hooking up with her biological dad because her family never told her?